Hey guys, I want to do something a little bit different this time because I'm basically the one who's been making videos so far on Catch-22, and I feel like I'm going to finish my videos before everyone else does, obviously, and I don't know what to do after. I don't want to move on to the next book in our list without everyone else, which, you know, is fair. I'll give them their time. But in the meantime, I'm going to supplement my Catch-22 videos. There's hopefully going to be a new one on Tuesday. With me talking about books that I've read on my own. One of the more recent books I read it like last week, was Lord of the Flies. You might be saying, hey Ziggy, weren't you supposed to read that when you were 16 in high school? Yeah, everyone else did. I didn't take grade 11 high school English in high school, so I never got to read it. And I'm really glad I didn't read in high school, because in high school, and, well, most of my education until probably first year university, I didn't really understand the whole concept of, like, English and analyzing books and why that was important. And I didn't like it because I didn't understand it and why it was important. Can't I just read a book and enjoy it? Yes, you can. But it also gives you tools and a context in order to, like, base society and understand complex issues, which I didn't really learn until first year university when I took a history course. And in that history course, we read Dr. Faustus by Christopher Marlowe, and I can't remember what it was, but we read that too, and we analyzed them in historical context. And they were fiction, and, well, it was history class, but, like, in our essays, we wrote more like English students, and why those things are important, what can we learn from them. And that's when I really got into, like, reading books to figure things out. And then, you know, I started watching John Green's stuff, and he kind of shifted it to a more present time and, like, more English side, because, you know, it was a history course, so it was more history-based. But John Green really solidified how it can be used in an English setting. So if I read it in high school, I probably would not have liked it, and then it would be like the other books. I read The Chrysalids and To Kill a Mockingbird, and I don't remember what I read in grade 12. But, so I wouldn't have liked it like I didn't those books. Probably if I went back and read those books, I might actually like them. But I'm really glad I didn't, because, yeah, so I don't think I would like it, and that's kind of a tragedy to me, and I think English teachers really need to work on that to get people engaged in what they're doing and not just be like, I have to read this for school, which is what I was like. So I read it now, and I obviously enjoyed it. My roommate told me that I would find it really, she liked it, but she said in the English setting it seemed like they were beating down, like, the analysis into her head, and she seemed to think that it was all, like, common knowledge, and why are we talking about it so much? And she thought, like, in that setting, it wasn't a good read because it was so berated into her head. Like, we were 16. We already, like, got that these things are important and we have to talk about them. And I think the way that they did it in grade 11, they kind of thought that maybe we didn't know as much as we did. So going into it, I thought, okay, it's going to be very obvious. I'm going to understand all of the things. And so I read it, and I thought it was really good use of, like, symbolism and, like the conch, the symbolism applied to the conch, how it's, like, manifestation, I guess, of society and, like, civilization. And, you know, when it gets destroyed, that's obviously the downfall of their structure on the island, and Ralph is running for his life then. And I found that it was, like, a really useful tool, and I wish that you would read it in, I mean, going back now, I don't really remember the chrysalids and how obvious that was, but this one seemed really accessible and really gets you into the mindset of how you can see these symbols, like the conch, or, like, the monster on the island, the beast on the island, and how it represents fear, and how they're just, you know, concocting these things over their own observations, but, like, making it into something sinister. I really think wish that we kind of read this in grade 9 instead. And, like, so that way it's not as obvious because we're not used to reading and analyzing. But I think it's a good introduction because, like, some of the more obscure things and, like, the things that you're supposed to look for and, like, you have to, like, search, like, that's, like, the idea of, like, an English class. I think this book kind of gives you that mindset and, like, sees very obvious connections between the symbols and the themes in the book and kind of applies them to ideas and things in real life. And so I think that it would help someone to get into that mindset before they move on to something a little more challenging where something isn't as obvious. And then maybe they'll, instead of like sifting through the book and trying to find stuff, it would just come naturally to them. So I think that is why we read it in high school, to kind of get us in that mindset. But I don't think English teachers really do it that well, because I never got that out of the 2 books I remember reading in English, or like I never really understood that in high school at all. And now that I do, I see the value in it. And so I just wish they would have done it better and we would have read this earlier. So I don't know, what was your opinion on it in high school? Did you understand it? Did you connect things? Did it help you read critically later on in life? I really don't like the school system at all, which is kind of sad. Yeah, so that's all I wanted to say, so bye-bye.